I'm going to do a video in relation to Connor Burns now, a Member of Parliament for an area within Dorset where this fraud relates. It's quite important because obviously I've been wanting to try and resolve the situation of the fraud and stop it happening and evidence it, and trying to get the MPs to help me. So this is basically email correspondence between myself and Connor Burns' office. I'm going to show you this because it's very important. I was trying to contact Connor Burns in relation to him having recently been involved in an article with the Bournemouth Daily Echo highlighting a company called Initiative Property Management Limited that links through to the fraud through Companies House. Watch all of my other videos, but this is huge. This is national fraud against the public that's been happening for decades with the intention of digitising currency and allowing this fraud to continue, and it won't be able to be stopped, in conjunction with the use of forged bank documents. I was a police officer for 18 years. Watch all of my other videos, you'll see them, it will make sense. But let me start this video. It's all about Connor Burns. I'm sorry, Connor, but you've had an opportunity to do this in the right way. So I contacted Connor Burns. I wanted to speak to him and said, please contact me in relation to you're clearly interested in trying to help victims of this fraud through management. Contact me. So, but thank you for calling. So, as asked me to request your full postal address in order for him to confirm that you're a constituent of Bournemouth West. I won't read all of this to you. Dear Christine, I'm sorry, but this is a terrible response. I don't know why it's large words in there. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this could become a national crisis. I don't think Connor will be reprimanded in any way to call me and discuss this matter if he genuinely cares about the many victims in this, just like he would no doubt speak to someone in the street if they approached him. Connor is supposedly taking an interest in this situation. I have a significant evidence in relation to it. I have copied Tobias Ellwood, who is the MP for the area where the evidence stems in relation to it. Now, Connor had been, and I'll show the article in a minute, he's gone into the Houses of Parliament and highlighted this issue, but he appears to be trying to minimise it down to just one management company. There's loads of false flags, red flags. So I want to speak to Connor. I'm a former police officer, loads of evidence. So then Tobias Ellwood comes on quickly and says, if I may support my colleague, it is not unusual, indeed it is standard to confirm addresses of those who get in touch. So Tobias has responded very quickly. So I've come back onto the email. I'm sorry to do this, gentlemen, but I have to show the evidence and expose you in all of this. Expose this. Dear Tobias, thank you for your response. Hopefully you are aware of the Echo article to which Connor's involvement relates. If not, it is attached. So I attached the order. Please, can you call me to discuss where this is all heading? Here's my mobile number. I've received no response at all. Okay. I then clarified my address just to confirm. And then all I had was a response from Connor Burns' email or secretary saying saying basically thank you for confirming the address. So he won't speak to me because the address where this originally relates is Tobias Ellwood's jurisdiction or area, but not Connor Burns's. But even though he's showing the interest in it, it's all a cover for how huge this is. I'm going to show you why Connor's not responding. I'll just show you another email that I sent to Connor Burns and Tobias Ellwood. This was highlighting another company that appears to be involved in the fraud through Companies House. I was trying to say to them, look, that this company, and showing them the article. Okay, so I sent them the link to the article. This company is trying to take the business from Initiative Property Management Limited, but they are also involved in this national fraud. Please contact me. They haven't responded to me at all. Okay, so they still haven't responded. So let's have a look at the evidence on why Connor Burns is not responding to me, and it will become quite clear. I'm not saying Connor Burns is directly involved in any criminal activity. I'm just going to show you evidential links in relation to him, his company, associated affiliated companies, and this fraudulent system that has been allowed to happen for decades. So this first bit is a bit of research. I didn't write any of this. It's from Wikipedia. He held a number of jobs in the communication and finance sector, including the director of the Policy Research Centre for Business Limited, company secretary for de Havilland Global Knowledge Distribution, manager for Zurich Advice, and associate director of the public affairs company PLMR. I've highlighted them because we'll come to them later. Burns worked as a consultant for Trant Engineering Limited, earning $10,000 quarterly for 10 hours. Reduced his connections to oil and gas industries. This is very important. Watch all of my other videos through Trant Engineering. So let's look at evidential links now in relation to Conor Burns. I am sorry, Conor, you've basically have to. I've had to do this because we have to think of the victims. So Conor Burns is, at the time of this research, was appointed to 2 companies. Okay, you've got Conor Burns Bournemouth Trust. He's also linked through to Safewise. So we're going to look at Safewise, okay, which was, he was appointed there in 2010. He resigned in 2012. But let's look at Safewise. You have various people linked to. You have the former Police and Crime Commissioner, Martin Underhill, for Dorset. You have Martin Baker, who's a former police chief of police, I believe. You have Martin Chapman. You have people linked to the head of the fire service linked to it. People who are NHS managers. People basically from all services across society. Now, if you look through, bear with me. Oh yeah, so I've gone in through Safewise. You can see you've got this gentleman linked. This is Companies House Records. So you've gone through a link from Safewise to the people. You've got Brian Hutchinson. Brian Hutchinson, you can see from the top, is linked to Dorset Enterprise Agency Limited. Okay, that was now dissolved. He's also linked to Leicester Aldridge Company Secretarial Limited. And Roger Browning is also linked to Safewise Limited. You've also got John Valentine Butterfield, also related. Let's look at Safewise in more detail. These are Companies House Records. So they were incorporated in 1996. Strangely enough, at the time of this document, which was fairly recently, I can't remember, it was in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I believe, they're going into liquidation. They are trying to dissolve that company. Probably since I've been reporting this fraud, and you'll see why. Now, when they were incorporated, they were called Dorset Interactive Safety Education Centre Limited. In 1996, they changed their name in 2004. So here they are, Dorset Interactive Safety Education Centre Limited. Education Centre Limited. These are the incorporation documents. There you go, you can see it. Dorset Interactive Safety Education Centre Limited. These are public records. There's nothing wrong with me showing you. And you can see straight away that the incorporation document is linked via a company called Jordan's with an address in Bristol. Now you'll see all my research links back through to Jordan's, that is Vistra. And you can see here, Jordan's Limited is also on the incorporation document for Safewise. Now my company, which is in relation to property management or the freehold of property, was also started up by Jordan's. Watch all of my videos, but basically I acquired very clearly fake bank documents through my company, and I believe they're being used in the taxation system to defraud the public of trillions for several decades, and I suspect they plan to continue using that system and solidifying it by digitising all currency and removing cash. That cannot happen, and thank the Lord this evidence is now enough to justify that they changed this system completely, and the taxation system is changed completely. We shouldn't be paying half the tax we're paying. It's a complete scam and fraud, and this is all evidence. So Jordan's started Safewise that is linked to Conor Burns. Okay, now bearing in mind all the other companies all linked back through Jordan's. This is why, along with other evidence, I'm going to show you why Conor is so worried and not responding to me. So we've mentioned the policy research at the beginning. This is the policy research centre that Conor Burns was linked to, apparently, according to that article. They were a company that I believe is still trading, I'm not too sure, but they're linked to Premier Directors Limited. Premier Directors Limited are linked through to these companies. But let's look at the policy research. So this person, okay, if they're real, now a lot of the time, I'm not saying this person isn't, a lot of the time fake details are being used. Quite often they're foreign-looking names. Okay, now I don't know why. I don't know whether they're going to try and blame this, pin all this fraud on foreign people having intercepted the Home Office registration system. I don't think they can. I think the evidence is so overwhelming that the government itself were involved in this and people within Companies House. So I couldn't speak there. But anyway, this person is linked, if they're real or not, to the Policy Research Centre. Okay, this is this person is also connected to the Policy Research Centre. If you go through this person, you can see it links. So very quickly it links through from Conor Burns' company that he's already affiliated to, according to Wikipedia, if that's true, to a company called Muslim Aid International. Muslim Aid International. Okay, you can see under Muslim Aid International, you have this person, which is linked through. And you also have. Focusing. It then links through to this company via. Trying to find where it is. Okay, so there's a connection somewhere that links through to this company here. Now, this company here, you can see at the top, was started by Temple Secretaries Limited, which was linked to an address of 788 to 790 Finchley Road, notorious for being used as a shell empty address to incorporate companies where they have no affiliation. And of course, it means if you have no real address, it's hard to be identified in any wrongdoing and be accountable because you don't have an address suitable for service of any litigation. That's why, as a police officer for 18 years, we could arrest people if they didn't provide suitable service or suitable address for service of a summons. It's the same for a company. So here we go. We've already got links through to possibly money laundering and fraudulent activity in relation to companies. Then we've also got this company linked to them, company directors. They pop up a lot. Bearing in mind there's over 5 million companies. My research very quickly comes back to the same few companies. Again, you can see 788, 790 Finchley Road. You've also got a company linked through to called UK Albanian Muslim Community and Cultural Centre Limited. They were started, again, Temple Secretaries Limited. Remember, word temple frequently comes up. I believe that has to do with some sort of belief system in relation to those involved in the head of this fraud, whether it be Freemasons or Masonic, or which I've only recently found out about, is Miratheism. I'm saying it completely wrong. I'm sorry if I am. I do apologise to you if you're part of that belief system. Obviously, I believe whatever, be part of whatever belief system you want. I'm a Christian. You believe what you want, but you should not, no matter what you believe, victimise others in anything. So this links through to, from this person, here you go, you can see from this person, links through to Somerville Court Management Limited. Okay, now we remember real estate relates heavily in relation to all of this. I've been defrauded in that way. And here we go, that company, Somerville Court Management, links to Temple Secretaries as well. What's going on below? Remember, this all links through Conor Burns, research into Conor Burns very quickly. It's also got links through from that person to Able Band Limited, which was started with Temple Secretaries. Now let's look at de Havilland, that we've already mentioned Conor Burns is involved with, according to Wiki. Here you go. This is a person linked to de Havilland, Andrew Himsey. I'm not saying involved in anything. This links very quickly. He links through to these companies, Bidco 5 Limited. Okay, you got all these different shell company names. Look, Lower Midco 5, Topco 5 Limited is a classic example. Bidco 5, I haven't even put all of them. There's so many of them, but obviously I can't present all of the evidence. It's so overwhelming. I'm just showing you the sort of immediate evidence and how quickly it gets to it. So these would be shell companies created which allow the ability to move money, whether it be tax evasion or something more sinister. Now, linked to de Havilland, you've got this gentleman, Mark Hine. He is linked to Azerian UK Limited. They were started up with Duport Secretary Limited. Now, this will focus a lot, again, comes back to the same companies very quickly. Remember, a Bristol office address. It's the Bristol office. A lot of this stems in Bristol. They have got over 17,000 companies appointed to them at some point. Linked to de Havilland, you've also got this person, okay? Now, they have got, I can't remember if I've gone on to the research for that. I don't think I have, but probably if you research this company here, will also link through to Temple or Swift or Jordan very quickly through to the fraudulent system. So, but this person was linked to Appy Nation Limited. Appy Nation links to OvalSec Limited. You'll see that crops up a lot, including through links through the Louise Smith that links through very quickly to Companies House who is the chief executive for Companies House, and links through from her associations as well, and links through back to this fraud. De Havilland, you've got this person. They link through to this company. They were started with Waterloo. Remember, we've mentioned Waterloo in other videos if I've done them before this, and you'll see Waterloo crops up frequently. That links through to my building, where the fake bank documents have been related, and people closely associated with that building, with my building and my company. Waterloo's is Jordan's and Vistra. It all links back through to them, and they're basically centralising these conglomerate companies into single entities, involving also the international transaction system for most banks to continue and digitise this fraudulent system, which means it can't be stopped. And then they'll use the fake bank documents, or they'll use false digital records to falsify Companies House documents or figures in relation to public taxation, spending money. It's huge, and it's fraud. Don't forget, it's a crime, and it's a crime against humanity. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Let me show you this. So this company was started professional. There you go. You can see Professional Publishers was started and initially incorporated, calling themselves this company, Periodic Publishers Association Limited, according to Companies House. Okay, Professional Publishers Association Limited. But if you look at them, they're not called that at all. They were incorporated, okay, and it includes the word newspaper. Okay, you can see it's a massive name for the limited company, and yet here we are. Companies House have called it something, said it's registered originally as something completely different in 1913. Okay, because it would either be registered as that, having that as its name, or it would have this as its main name. Okay, so this is how it works. So you have the main register record for them, and then it shows their previous company names. But here we are, two names that do not even exist on this incorporation document. So this is fraud, okay, by someone, either by Companies House that have falsified the records, or by the company that has originally created the document. As you can see, Jordans and Sons Limited is on the incorporation document right back when this company was created. This has been planned for decades. Okay, so I've done a search of PLMR Holdings Limited. That's because right back at the beginning, remember we said that Wiki states that Conor Burns had he was an associate director of the public affairs company PLMR. So let's look at PLMR Holdings that comes up when you do a research of PLMR. You can see there's a person called Valerie Burgess. So she very quickly links through. Company, you can see her name at the top there, a company called Mango Marketing. They were created using Swift Incorporations Limited. Okay, remember. Trident Engineering Limited, we also mentioned David Cameron's research, brought that up very quickly. And all this information has come very quickly. The time-consuming thing is putting it all together so you can see it. They were originally called P-Trant Limited in 1963, according to Companies House. Let's see if that's correct. So, there we go, P-Trant Limited. Yeah, so that's correct. Again, you can see Jordans and Sons linked to it. The same company where fake bank documents have been acquired. Now let's look at Zurich again. Affiliated to Conor Burns. Zurich Advice Network Limited, incorporated in 1951. They were originally called Allied Investors Development Company Limited in 1951, according to Companies House. So Allied Investors Development Company Limited. Allied Investors Development Company Limited. There we go. Yeah, that's correct. And you can see here at the bottom they've got a company called F.S. More Limited linked to them. Okay, linked to this document back in, remember, 1951, according to Companies House records. Trying to see if there's a date on the form. There we go, 1951. Okay, so F.S. More. Let's look at that company. So it brings up this company. It's the only one that comes up that I can find when you search it. And remember, all limited companies have to register with Companies House. So these are a document in relation to that company. And you can see that they originally had a name as letter type. But Companies House makes no mention of that name whatsoever. Okay, it makes no mention of that name at all in relation to FS More Limited. But here we are. This document is linked directly through from this record to this document. FS More Limited at the bottom, you can see is linked to them. And there's another incorporation document at the bottom. Well, there you go, you can see Letter Type Limited. And lo and behold, you do a search on Letter Type Limited. This is a Companies House search. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Companies House has been trading since 1844. Again, it comes back to a non-existent entity. Linking back from an MP. This whole system is used as a method of fraud for non-entity companies and fraud in the process of creating them or trying to make it look like there is them. So anyway, there's no trace on Companies House, so it doesn't exist. Let's search it in Google. It does bring up a company, but it's a different name. Let's have a look at Font Limited. Font Limited was incorporated in 2003. A lot of these companies seem to be registering from 2003. Font Limited. Now they were incorporated using a company called Chettlebergs Limited. Okay, now Chettlebergs, look at the address for starters. You'll see an address, Temple House. This comes up frequently. Holywell Road again. Temple is throughout this whole research. Font Limited, Secretarial Temple House, you can see Secretarial Limited there, Chettlebergs. So let's look at Chettlebergs. Here we go. Chettlebergs again is on the incorporation document. You can see it's the same company, Font Limited, comes up on the search. So what would have happened probably is that someone had that company, they used a false name to then create other companies and documents, falsified records on Companies House records, which creates this whole chain of the ability to avoid accountability for any illegal activity and tax evasion. And don't forget, it's been allowed to happen for decades, and in fact I think it's been planned for decades for it to then become a digital reality and not be changed. So they were originally we're now looking at Chettlebergs Limited. Remember, that was on the incorporation document I just showed you. They had an original name. Company House Records shows they had an original name of Mr. Chettleberg Limited, according to this, in 1958. Let's have a look at their incorporation document that is linked. Remember, it's linked through from that record on Companies House. There's no name whatsoever called Mr. Chettlebergs. It's called this. This is the incorporation document again. Fairway Registrations Limited. Company, sorry, Limited. Merivale. Let me zoom in on that a bit more. Merivale. But Companies House, although they've seen this document to input it against the record, they've put a different name altogether. Okay, you can see this is fraud, and it has to involve Companies House, who is a government organisation. They are falsifying this to commit crime against the public. And I know I'm angry, and I know it looks terrible, and it is terrible, but it can be resolved peacefully. Now, there's an email I'm going to do. They all need to resign, all the ones that have allowed this to happen. But very importantly, they need to fully regulate Companies House from now on and check all details and make sure this is not being allowed. Sack anyone involved at Companies House. They need to be gone. Okay, it's the only way to do this, because this is going to destroy the world. It is that bad. It's linked to wars and all sorts. But anyway, so we know we've now got a registration, and lo and behold, Jordans and Sons was involved in starting up this company, according to the incorporation document. But let's look at Merivale. When you type that in, although it's not linked to the right record, it's deliberately been changed the name, Mr. Chettleberg. Let's look at Merivale Limited anyway. Now, they were incorporated in 2012. Okay, so even if that was Merivale Limited on the incorporation document, this document is from 1958. But Merivale Limited didn't even exist until 2012. All right, it's just a complete, you can see where this is going, a complete falsification of the Companies House system. Deliberate, though. it's deliberate. And if it's deliberate, it's fraud. And here you go, Merivale Limited, Temple House, again, same address. This is their incorporation documents. Temple House, this is all part of that incorporation. Okay, so you can see I've shown a whole evidential chain of links from Conor Burns. This is only the tip of the iceberg, but it is overwhelming evidence of governmentary fraud. I'm not paying my taxes until they do what needs to be done. That is why Conor Burns has not been contacting me.